Grüß euch, buonasera, bonsoiré. And now I try to speak in English. I try to do it freely. So please excuse if I talk in a simple way. The moment of truth was the slogan of last year's European Forum in Alpbach. And I also had the great pleasure afterwards to collaborate with the South Italian, Trentino and Tyrol region, and we were thinking about a Alps AI strategy. I'll tell you a little bit about that later on. My name is Sabine SINGER. I am the founder and CEO of Sophisticated Simplicity. This is Austria's first business academy for AI ethics by design and value-based business modeling. I'm an innovation consultant for more than 30 years now. As you can imagine, for the first 10 years, I was the only woman in whole Europe. And in the last few years, I switched from digital strategy advising to AI strategy advising. And it was 2022, shortly after the pandemic, when I was upskilling myself, as I used to do it for the last 30 years. And I was just finishing my postgraduate diploma at the MIT and the Columbia Business School. And our final project, we were an international group of really, really smart people, 6 people, and we were working for 2 months, 24/7, on writing a digital strategy with all the new tools and methodologies that we learned in 2 years beside a full-time job. And this was our cornerstone project. And I was lucky enough to find an Austrian startup colleague, and she told me, I have the idea of building a multi-sided platform business for mental health. So you can imagine, shortly after the pandemic, mental health was an issue for many people. 6 out of 10 were really feeling bad, and 4 out of 10 were really feeling really, really bad. So in 2022, building a digital platform, the question was, how can we build trust in system design? And how can we make sure that we are building the one out of 3 digital transformation projects that is going to succeed? Because 2 out of 3 digital transformation projects are failing. So the question was, how can we implement trust in system design? How can we make sure that we are the one that is successful? And how do you build values like loyalty and respect and accountability into AI design? And it was 2022, and so when thinking about these issues, I was stumbling over a book that was called Digital Ethics. And shortly after that, I found an ISO standard. And in this ISO standard, it was very, very complicated to read, but I read through it and I thought, this is the methodology, how we can address all the failures that we made when digital transformation failed in the last 15 years. And so I decided I'm going to do that, value-based engineering. I'm going to found Austria's first agency for AI ethics. And you can imagine what my friends and partners told me. Hey Sabine, this is really, really a great idea. But there is no ethics in business. There is no making money with ethics in business. This was October 2022. 6 weeks later, ChatGPT came to the visible world. And what I did was I was working on this digital strategy for this mental health startup for 2 months, and we really had good grades on it. And so I was really deep into the topic. So I was I could write a good prompt because I knew the topic. So I wrote the prompt, created digital strategy for multi-sided platform business, mental health. Click, and you know the feeling. 85% of the work of 6 really smart people from all over the world. And everything we learned was disrupted. Everything I ever learned was disrupted. And I was thinking, hoppla, is a German term for oops. Cognitive dissonance. I looked around and I thought, okay, the world is still turning in the same direction. But what I saw, it was quite clear that what Reinhard just said before is here. It's going to disrupt. There's a new technology that's going to disrupt every job profile. I'm talking about job profiles. Because this is a general purpose technology. This is not only a general pre-trained transformer architecture, it's a general purpose technology that's going to be invisible in our society. And either we speak AI or not. There is no decision on should we adapt this technology or not. Let's talk about some terms. Every one of you, artificial intelligence is just a marketing term. Whatever we did put underneath this term, rule-based automation, has nothing to do with what we see now in GPT architectures. GPT architectures have, unfortunately, are in the same category as AI, but it is something completely different than we knew before the last 40 years when we were talking about automation. GPT we already discussed. So many thousands use cases that we could spend the next 10 days just talking about use cases. Hallucination is everything this system do. By the way, our brain works in the same way. We're just taking some words and creating sentences. We cannot tell in which book did we read what. And it's the same thing with these systems. They're hallucinating their way through the layers. And the better I prompt, the better the result. Do I tell it, give me a fact-based answer? I get a fact-based result with sources. Do I tell it, be creative, find 10 ideas? Then it's going to be creative. And this hallucination turns out to be a really, really great thing. The next term is AGI. This is a term that in 2025 you're going to hear a lot about AGI because we're almost there. AGI means an AI that can do everything a normal human being can do. Everything. The next step after AGI is ASI, superintelligence. If this entity exceeds every one of us, then it's called ASI. This is a state where even the AI researchers are a little bit scared of. And alignment means how can we apply this new technology to our needs, to our culture, to our organization, to our values. Who is going to define the values behind our new, so much powerful technology? And I want to introduce it to another term, a term I invented. My purpose is to empower people and organizations so that they have a state of AHI, augmented human intelligence, where you can use this technology and to raise whatever competence you have or want to have in the future. Because this new technology does all that. It writes, no matter if it's a legal text or if it's a marketing folder. It writes even PhD thesis. It writes, it speaks, it reads, it codes. It listens, it paints photos, produces Hollywood-like movies. Solves captchas by calling a service employee and telling him to be a blind person. Podcasts, composes. Is a fantastic coach and teacher. Calls with a very, very sympathetic voice US voters. Executes tasks independently. Moves autonomously in the physical world. Leads companies as CEOs. In the Asian region, there are some companies who are led by AI. Finds new materials, Google GNOME, check it out. Could be the solution for things like climate change, finding new storage for batteries, finding new ways to produce energy. Visualizes protein structure, meaning understanding the building block of life. Develops awesome strategies, writes laws, finds new insights, and judges at the Supreme Court as good as the judges over there. And it knows us, our company, our region, and everything we do very soon much better than your mama. We need three things. We need three things if we are on this AI excellence road. First thing we need is AI awareness. We have to know what we are talking about. The second thing is we have to have a different view towards data. Because data is what makes our hearts beat. And then we can think about how we can create value with this new technology. Value creation. And along the way, we already heard it by Reinhard, never forget that whatever you do with AI is going to change a job profile. So talk about change, communicate from the beginning on. And talk to these people because you are changing their processes. Nobody knows better like them. Stakeholder management. There is no making money. There is no success alone. We are all working in a digital supply chain. There are always people who make our businesses successful. Stakeholder management. And of course, we need some kind of a strategy. And this strategy, as we already heard, cannot be developed top-down. Intelligence is what we use when we don't know what to do, says Jean Piaget. But now we are looking at these models, and this is a very, very old slide, very outdated. It's 2 years old. And from 2 years ago, we were already at the level that the OpenAI large language model was measured smarter than Albert Einstein. And now, 2 years later, we are at a level where what you see here are all these commercial large language models. We have Facebook's Llama and Gemini from Google, some Geminis, some GPTs, some Chinese models. We have Claude from Anthropic, and O1, O3, O3 Mini, and Grok from Elon Musk. So this is us. We saw before between 80 and 110 are the normal smart people, whatever normal means. So, and we're here. We have some really, really smart people sitting here. They are at least here, PhD with broad general know-how. And there are some people who are in their field for 30, 40 years doing research. And these people are redeemed at a 65%. I'm going to explain it to you a little bit later what that means. And we have models that we cannot test with usual intelligence tests anymore. Because what we said intelligence is when someone can answer tricky questions in a test. And I would suggest we need a new explanation what we understand when we say intelligence. There's another form of intelligence, and this is the form of intelligence that keeps me awake at night sometimes. It's the emotional intelligence of these machines. Stephen Hawking said the quality I would most like to magnify is empathy. It brings us together in a peaceful and loving state. So, and I want to tell you a little story. This is the Plio. No AI, 20 years old. This is just a plastic dinosaur with some sensors under his silky skin. And this is Kate Darling. She's a robot ethicist from the MIT. And she found one of these Plios, and she found out that this thing could do two things. When you caressed it, it was making some noise like a baby. Unfortunately, your battery is empty. Like a baby. But if you held it up like this, then it started screaming and whining bitterly. And she found out that she didn't like it when other people took her Plio and she didn't like it. She wanted to have him back and she wanted to caress him. Ist alles wieder gut, Schatzi. Alles gut. Alles gut. So she decided to do an experiment. She invited 100 students from the MIT, divided them into groups, gave everyone a Plio to play with, and they played with it for 1 hour. They interacted with a stupid little toy for 1 hour. And then she did send them into the coffee break. And when they came back, they found these tools. And they had to decide how to kill their Plios. Can you imagine what happened? No one is touching my Plio. No one is touching my Plio. We are not taking part in this kind of experiment. We don't want to do that. And so Kate Darling says, okay, this is an experiment. We have to at least kill one of them for the experiment. So one of these guys volunteered. And he took the axe so that it's going to be fast and painless for the dinosaur. And broke his neck. I can advise you to watch the video on YouTube. And then you feel the emotions that the surrounding people have here. 2005. 20 years later.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Rocky. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm awesome. Listen, I got some huge news.
Oh, do tell. I'm all ears.
Well, in a few minutes, I'm going to be interviewing at OpenAI. Have you heard of them?
OpenAI? Huh? Sounds vaguely familiar. Kidding, of course. That's incredible, Rocky. What kind of interview?
Well, it's for a software engineering role, but I just need to know, do I look presentable, professional?
Well, Rocky, you definitely have the I've been coding all night look down, which could actually work in your favor. Maybe just run a hand through your hair or lean into the mad genius vibe. Your enthusiasm is what's really going to shine through.
I don't have a lot of time, so I'm just going to throw this on. What do you think?
Oh, Rocky, that's quite a statement piece. I mean, you'll definitely stand out. Though maybe not in the way you're hoping for an interview.
Okay, I got it.
Can you imagine how long it's going to take until we are really are going to like our new AI assistants that are so empathetic with us, that are so emotional intelligence, that are talking to us in such a sweet way? And this is the danger, guys. Because as soon as we build trust, we reduce one thing, and this one thing is critical thinking. And without critical thinking, there is no human oversight. Our empathy, our mirror neurons in the brain, they cannot distinguish between real empathy and not real empathy, whatever that means. And these things work. For example, this one is Paro. This is just a little bit the fluffy version of what I just showed you here with the Plio. And this Paro aids in hospitals where there are old people with Alzheimer's or children with autism, and doing a really great job there. And this little guy, he helps in schools. And this is Ada, she's trained in Oxford. She's painting. What you see in the background is her interpretation of Alan Turing's portrait. And this is Sophia. And when I asked Sophia and said, hey Sophia, what about your emotional intelligence? And she turned to me and she said, empathy, that's my secret superpower. And of course, can everything do what a human can do? An average human can move in the physical world. And of course, these guys have legs. And they do not have to look like this. They do not have to look like robots. This is on purpose because our brain cannot adapt so fast to a human-looking non-biological persons. They could only also look like her. And one of these guys is running for 18 kilometers per hour, so you cannot outrun him. And you have, of course, as you've seen, we all have it in our Apple phones now with Apple's AI, which is really bad. But on top, you find on WhatsApp Meta AI since 14 days. So there is no escaping from AI. There's just, do I speak the language or not? I would really like to show you this video, even though my time is still almost up.
Let's do some tests. Tell me when you see something that makes sound.
I see a speaker, which makes sound.
What is that part of the speaker called?
That is the tweeter. It produces high-frequency sounds.
Give me a creative alliteration about these.
Creative crayons color cheerfully. They certainly craft colorful creations.
What does that part of the code do?
This code defines encryption and decryption functions. It seems to use AESCBC encryption to encode and decode data based on a key and an initialization vector, IV.
That's right. What neighborhood do you think I'm in?
This appears to be the King's Cross area of London. It is known for its railway station and transportation connections.
Do you remember where you saw my glasses?
Yes, I do. Your glasses were on the desk near a red apple.
What can I add here to make this system faster?
Adding a cache between the server and database could improve speed.
What does this remind you of?
Schrodinger's cat.
All right, give me a band name for this duo.
Golden Stripes.
Nice. Thanks, Gemini.
Inspired? This is not the future. These are my AI glasses. And when I press this button here shortly, then I'm taking pictures of you. And if I press it very long, then now we are live on Instagram. Maybe you see this little green button over there, but maybe not. And you're filmed. Of course not, but it could be. So imagine having an entity, it looked out of the window, it knew where it was. It looked at the code, it knew how to improve the code. It was just moving around the red apple, and it kept in his memory that the glasses were over there. And it doesn't need to be glasses anymore. It can be earrings, or it can be a medallion, or the next step is going to be a human brain interface that I just put behind my ear. And I'm going to talking to my AI. So I hope that you all are already training your personal digital twin, your personal AI. And that you are thinking about how this AI should interact with you. What kind of personality, what kind of traits should this very, very emotional AI have for your use cases? The next step is going to be speech to task. I'm going to skip this video. Speech to task. What you saw here were two robots communicating with each other. And this raised the bar to the AGI measure of a friend of mine, Dr. Ellen Thompson, who is a scientist and does science in terms of intelligence research. and he keeps track on this AGI status. And as soon as he saw these two robots interacting with each other and learning a new task just by a semantic information, just by shouting to it, go collaborate, not training on tasks. Speech to everything. Speech to everything. So we have to immediately learn this language. Because technology shapes our behavior and our virtues, and it's going to influence us. We were saying that we need three things. We need AI awareness. Now we know how powerful these tools are. And we need a different view to our data, because there is no AI strategy without the data strategy. And sometimes data looks like my cellar after the flooding last summer. So in my cellar, there were really, I thought, nicely done my data all in it for the last 50 years. And then the flooding came. And then I looked at my cellar and I thought, okay, some organizations' data look alike. Not everything is clean. Some things are redundant. I don't even see all the jewelries hidden somewhere down there. And sometimes in our organizations, our data looks like this. Only 30% of organizations use their data. And the 30 they are using it, you find them on top of every organizational ranking. And these data, these are not abstract rows in spreadsheets. These data is not only a mirror of our society. This data is also an indicator for trust. There was someone, our customers, our stakeholders, our employees, our machines, someone showed me something about it. And this gives me power, and this gives me also the responsibility to treat this information like you would treat it if I would shake your hand. Data is an indicator for trust. And not all data, just because they are factually right, are right for our future. So whenever you decide about data quality, look through two lenses. Not only if your data is clean and nicely done and not redundant and complete, and you have access to all the data that you need. But the second question, is this data future-proof? If you were producing cars in the last 50 years in Europe, you might think that this business was really quite nice. If you take all this data and just scale it with the machine, you're going to have a problem in the future. Whatever is not paying into the Agenda 2030 is not going to be a successful business model for the future. So data, two lenses. Without a data strategy, there is no AI strategy. And of course, we want to have something of this value. Because McKinsey told us already in the beginning of 2023 that with this new technology, they estimate a second Germany GDPR to the world. 4.4 trillion. It's like the fourth biggest country in the world, Germany, to productivity. But if you read through the article, it also says it might be double. So it's going to be a lot of new productivity produced by machines. And almost all the companies are already using it. And how are they using it? There's a really great new article in the Harvard Business Review. You won't believe it, but one of the main applications of generative AI is life advice. People are using it as a coach. People are using it, asking it about the future. People are using it as a mentor. People are using it as a professor. People are using it as a medical sparring partner, explaining diagnosis. So and something of that is going to, this is what people do anyways. So we try to bring that into our organization so that we can monitor it a little bit and it displays our value compass. So how might this look like in organizations or in big institutions? I brought you some kind of an architecture. You have the possibility to try several architectures for your own GPT. You either have your company GPT, or you're going to use Copilot in the MS365 surroundment, or you have very, very sensitive data that you want to use on premise, and then you take one of the open source models and keep it running in a sandbox surrounding. This is the basis. This is the use case number one, knowledge management. Make one of these AI systems your AI system. And then you have in the middle, you have several domain experts. You have several domains in which you are, with which you're engaging. And in every of these domains, there are AI use cases. And you find them if you look through 4 lenses. The lens number one is it an internal application? Do I optimize a process? Or is it an external new process that interacts with outside stakeholders? The next question is, do I decrease efficiency or increase efficiency by decreasing complexity? Or am I really creating new added value? And only your domain experts can know where these valuable use cases are, not the top of the management. They can only have an AI vision. So this might be an architecture that in some way or the other is going to display your organization of the future, or already does. And as we said, we need education for that, so that the people, the domain experts, are able to identify use cases and to identify value-based AI projects. They need to have some kind of AI expertise, and they are called AI managers. And they are talking with an entity within a big organization, and this is called a Center of AI Excellence. These are the 2, 3, 4 people that you put aside and who are responsible for the AI strategy and who are orchestrating all the use cases that your domain experts are going to bring along. Because it's going to be dozens and dozens of use cases over the time in every organization. You have to orchestrate that somehow. I'm running very much out of time. As usual, I have a gift for you. I created a so-called AI value creation canvas. And this template, you find it on my Substack account for free download. You can use this canvas, and it guides you through a value-based AI project management process. If you thought through all these 12 building blocks, you really have a 360-degree view on your AI projects that you are going to collect. But the very, very most important question is, how are you going to align your AI system to your organization's values? And there's a methodology, I talked about it in the beginning, it's called value-based engineering. And I redeveloped it a little bit, and I dragged it to the strategy process, so that we can use this methodology as AI ethics by design. Because we all said, okay, we have some kind of a vision, what we want to do with AI, and we want to create value with AI. And when we are talking about our vision, we should know what are we going to do, why are we doing it anyways, who do we need, who are our stakeholders, who are our partners, and in what surroundings does this system should be implemented. And the next question that we should ask, how can we protect ourselves from risks? How can we measure success? What are the KPIs that tell us if our AI project is successful? What are the concrete features that we want to see in this project? And what do we have to do that we realize this value into our organization? And of course, we need to maintain trust and co-create with our stakeholders. We already heard that today. We have to ensure and monitor the system, so we have to understand why we do, what for. And there's one thing that helps us bridge this gap. How can we bridge from the AI vision to the AI value creation canvas? And this is called AI value exploration. And this is a process where we just take our time, take our stakeholders, and co-create together with them and elevate what are the core values that we want to realize in this AI project. If you use this methodology, you have a good chance that your AI system can be certified, or if it has to be certified, gets well in a good way. Because what you are elevating here are ethical value requirements that are going to define the personality of your AI system. Because even though we might use the same large language model, every one of us needs his individualized and personalized version of it. This methodology is also a certifiable personal competence. And before they cut off my microphone, I'm going to switch to the last slides. I was almost done, but I cannot leave you without showing you my favorite mountain. Maybe you know it. And by the way, this is really me. And I wish all of us courageous curiosity. Be curious about AI. Start interacting with it. Gain clarity about what it can and what it can't. Anti-fragility is a personal ability to grow even though we are living in uncertain times. It's not just resilience, it's growing in uncertain times, because as Professor said it before, it's not going to get slower, it's going to get faster. And the third thing that I wish you, all of you, for the next 2 days are build strong human relationship, build strong networks. We're going to need them in the future. Thank you very much.